There were surprises. There was storyline development. There were a few botches, but there were also some great matches. So what did I think of Clash at the Castle 2024? Well, this is my review. Welcome to Silo Voice Wrestling on YouTube and the Silo Voice Wrestling podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. From Silo Voice Studios in Montreal, I'm Jason C. McLean. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and of course, ring that bell for notifications for all my wrestling hot takes, cold takes, simmering takes, assorted thoughts on Raw and SmackDown, which is starting up again this week. Prediction videos. My next one, of course, will be for Money in the Bank. I'm excited for that. Wrestling opinion pieces. We're going to get some more of those out. And, of course, reviews. Now, I'm going to start something with my next PLE review. It's going to be a rating system. I'm not going to use the star system. That's very Meltzer. I'm not going to use ups and downs. That's What Culture, Simon Miller. I'm thinking of using a letter grade system talking about different aspects. It'll be good, I think. You'll see it in action, but not this time. This time we're talking about Clash at the Castle, which was this past Saturday from Glasgow, Scotland. And this is currently Monday, the 17th of June. It's before Monday Night Raw, so I haven't seen that yet. It's just before, so that's not going to affect my opinions here. I might throw in an addendum if something changes. But with that in mind, let's start with the very first match. For the undisputed WWE Championship, the champion, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, defends against challenger AJ Styles in an I Quit match. Off the bat, I'd just like to say you would never see Tribal Chief Roman Reigns as champion starting off a show or even going second to last. He was always in the main event as champion, even if the main event should have been something else, namely something with local hero, situational babyface Drew McIntyre, which it was here. But Cody did the right thing, and I'm glad he didn't go on second to last. I'm glad him and AJ kicked it off because it was a hell of a way to kick off the show. While AJ dominated early on, there was a lot of back and forth. Microphone being held up to people asking him if they quit. They, of course, said no. At one point, Cody got color or blood, and that's why WWE released black and white photos for some parts of the match. Given how this happened during AJ being distracted by Mama Rhodes, more on her later, I thought that Cody had actually bladed, but I think it might have been an accident because they clearly didn't want to show it, and the blood seemed to go away after a certain point. I don't think this match needed blood at that stage, so maybe it was actually an accident, not blading. Mama Rhodes, Cody's mom, did play a big part in this match from the audience. She yelled at AJ. AJ yelled back. She even slapped AJ. And when AJ pulled out the handcuffs, I thought, oh boy, are they actually going to do what I saw a few people online suggest? I can't remember who it was, but it was not me. That basically Cody was going to quit because they were threatening Mama Rhodes. But no. That didn't happen. Cody ended up putting the handcuffs on AJ, and then the American Nightmare grabbed the steel ring steps, threatened AJ with them, and AJ shouted, "I quit." And still, the undisputed WWE champion, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. Out came Solo Sikoa, very chill looking and applauding. Different character for him. They stared each other down for a bit, then out came Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa. Attacked Cody. Randy Orton and Kevin Owens came out. Obviously, Cody's now mixed in with the bloodline, and he's also mixed in with Orton's and Owens. And I think Cody and Orton is where they're going to be going next. But we're not quite there yet, so maybe we need a little bit of bloodline help to get the two of them together and then hopefully fighting each other. I don't think they want to turn Orton heel, but I think Orton being a heel is the only way this will work for now with him and Cody. But yeah, that was a little tease at what's to come. And also we got some more people on the card, even though they weren't officially in the match. But it capped off a very solid opening match that wasn't as good as their first encounter, but was a bit more interesting, and the stakes were a bit higher. Next up was the triple threat match for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships, with the champions Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair defending against Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, and Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark. Okay, I thought going into this match, this will be a fun match. Nothing of significance is really going to happen. It's nice to see they're giving Alba Fire and Isla Dawn such a big match in front of their home crowd. Stark or Baszler, one of them was there to take the pin. But of course, Bianca and Jade were going to continue on as the dominant women's tag team champions. So what happened? Belair, and in particular Cargill, dominated the early part of the match. Overall, they looked very strong throughout. Yes, Jade did slip on the ropes, coming off the ropes. It was a botch. It happens. Also, at one point, it looked like she was tapping out to the point where Michael Cole even mentioned it on commentary because it was blatant, but clearly that wasn't her tapping out. She was maybe just signaling that the hold was on too tight. Who knows? They still look good. Everyone still looked good. At one point, they went away for a while, and then, okay, here they are back, and they hit their finisher on Shayna Baszler. Here we go for the victory. But then before the ref could count to 3, Isla Dawn swooped in, suplexed Jade Cargill off, and took the pin for herself. 1, 2, 3, and new WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. Wait, what? I did not see that coming, nor did anyone else who made predictions, or probably even most casual wrestling fans. Some people in Glasgow probably hoped it would happen, but didn't actually think it would. Now, the match itself was okay. It was decent. There were some botches. It was a perfectly functional match. And if it had served the purpose we all thought it would serve, it would have just been a nice way to show some Scottish talent to the Scottish audience and to a broader audience, and showcase the strengths of Baszler and Stark, but also reinforce the dominance of Belair and Cargill. But of course, that's not what happened. Now, where they go from here is an interesting choice. It will be an interesting choice. Now, they could just put the belts back on Cargill and Belair, make this a hometown thing, showing them being strong. But of course, they never actually pinned the champions, and Belair and Cargill continue their dominance. I thought they were going to continue their dominance until WrestleMania and then eventually lose the titles and fight each other. Maybe this is it for them as a team. Maybe they're going to turn on each other and they're going to fight at SummerSlam. That can work. Maybe WWE thinks they're ready. As for the new champions, well, this actually potentially puts more emphasis on the women's tag team title scene. It's not just a glorified squash match to show the dominance of the champions and maybe showcase some local talents and some less used talents to a broader audience. No, this was a title change. I didn't expect it. I'm glad it happened. And it kind of woke me out of my enjoyment, but my stupor as well, too. It magnified my enjoyment, but it knocked me out of my complacency and set me up for the next match, which, of course, was for the Intercontinental Championship. The champion Sami Zayn defending against challenger Chad Gable, accompanied by Otis and Maxine Dupree. Now, as a huge Sami Zayn fan, Montrealer, I was a little nervous going in. I didn't want Sami to lose the title without at least getting through one feud. Not just one title defense, but one feud, and maybe at least into a second or third feud. I was relieved after this match was over, but it still was a very fun and solid match. As with any Gable-Zayn match, 2 pros, there were plenty of suplexes, one that looked particularly nasty that Gable took. There were also submission holds, hope spots, you name it. But of course, the focus for a lot of it was outside the ring. Sidebar, it was a very nice touch that Maxine Dupree was able to pull off one leg in a cast and the other wearing a high heel. That was a very interesting, perfectly in character, fun costume choice. But yeah, it looks like Otis has finally had enough. Gable was trying to get Maxine to hit Sami with the title belt. She refused. She almost did it, but she refused. Gable chewed her out, and Otis, not standing up against for Sami, but stood up for Maxine, got in the way, got in between Gable and Maxine. And eventually, after Sami came off the ropes and Otis, quote-unquote, took one for the team and eventually tried to protect Maxine again, he walked off with Maxine in his arms, leaving Chad Gable alone. Distracted, he ate a haluva kick from Sami. 1, 2, 3. And still the Intercontinental Champion, Sami Zayn. Now, like I said, I definitely enjoyed this match. This was a really good match. I mean, these are 2 pros at the top of their game. How could it not be a great match? But the focus, like I said, was not actually on the match itself. It was on the storyline with Otis. And as Sami walked away, he actually turned back and gave Gable a signal that this was it for them. Now, whether or not Sami's going to still be part of this storyline, who knows? Again, I haven't watched Raw yet. But if this is the end of the Zayn-Gable feud, or at least for now, I'm kind of glad, because I definitely think Gable should be fighting Otis. And I'm glad that Sami Zayn didn't have to lose the Intercontinental title for that to happen. Now Zayn can go on to someone else, and I think we all know that Gable is going on to Otis. That's going to be a SummerSlam match. Even without a title involved, I definitely hope Gable versus Otis makes the SummerSlam card. And then for the WWE Women's Championship, the champion Bayley defending against challenger and Scotswoman Piper Niven, accompanied by Chelsea Green. Sorry, I have to do that every time her name's mentioned. My tribute to Samantha Urban. Anyways, this match went pretty much as I expected. Niven put on a really strong hometown performance, but ultimately, after a long fight, Bayley was victorious. The highlight for me, though, had to be Chelsea Green. Or Chelsterio or Chelsea Verde. I think she's called herself both things online. Basically, she was arguing with the referee. She got kicked away from ringside, and she came back in the exact same outfit with a lucha mask on, pretending she was a completely different person. It was hilarious. It was a nice bit of comedy in the middle of this very decent match. But back to that match, I knew Bayley was going to retain. I'm not sure if she's going to beat Nia Jax at SummerSlam, but I thought she would win here, and I thought that this would help give more credibility to Piper Niven, which it absolutely did. Fun match to watch. No real surprises. A couple of pros, and a really fun bit from Chelsea Green. And then we had the main event for the World Heavyweight Championship. The champion, Damian Priest of the Judgment Day, El Campeon, defending against challenger and proud Scotsman, Drew McIntyre. If there was ever any doubt as to whether or not Drew McIntyre would be a situational babyface here, that doubt was erased within seconds. This crowd was clearly behind the Scottish Warrior. Now, throughout the night, like the crowd in France, they had been singing, but it hadn't been these obscure songs that you're not really sure who they're cheering for. No, they were singing and including the name of the person they were cheering for. And here it was clearly Drew McIntyre. Drew came out with a full bagpipe ensemble or regiment, real pomp and circumstance, real showmanship. The match at first was very fast-paced, some aerial stuff, a lot of groundwork, but then attempting a dive, Damian Priest got his leg caught in the ropes. This looked scary. Drew played it well, though, still remaining in character. He even said, I can't win the title like this. So, therefore, he let the ref help get him out after poking him a little bit. For the rest of the match, Priest, you can see, was still injured. Now, whether or not he was selling, in which case, excellent sell job, or he really was injured and finished the match, in which case, wow, my hero. That's excellent dedication to the craft. Damian Priest was able to put on a solid performance after what looked like a very nasty, unintentional potential injury. And Drew was solid as well, too. And then there was a ref bump, followed by an attempted chokeslam and a claymore by McIntyre. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 maybe. The crowd was chanting, but there was no referee. But then a referee runs in. You don't see who it is. He counts 1, 2, and then stops. The camera angle changes, and it's CM Punk. Drew notices this, gets up, goes for Punk. Punk hits him with a low blow. Damian Priest comes to his senses, just as the referee comes to his senses, the original referee. South of Heaven chokeslam. 1, 2, 3. And still, the World Heavyweight Champion, Damian Priest. Kudos to WWE production for not letting us see who the ref was until after he counts 1, 2, and stops. They actually hid the fact that it was CM Punk. That was great. Now, okay, for the people in Scotland, this must have really sucked. I can understand wondering why they pissed you off, but storytelling purposes, this works perfectly because we know that it has to be Drew versus Punk at SummerSlam. Punk apparently is almost ready to be cleared, and if he's back, why would you do anything else? Thing is, whoever has the World Heavyweight Championship has to fight Gunther at SummerSlam. Do you really want to do Drew McIntyre versus Gunther at SummerSlam? No. You want to do McIntyre versus Punk. So Priest has the world title. Who knows? He might lose it after Money in the Bank. I might do a video about that. But we've got our feud amplified. Now, Drew is really, really mad at Punk, and Punk is really, really mad at Drew. This is how you build storyline. This is how you build character. And this is how you surprise everyone. No one knew Punk was there. I didn't know Punk was there. And we didn't even know he was in the ring until the camera turned to him. Maybe some of the people in the arena saw it. I'm not sure. But this was a real piss off to the local audience. I'm sorry, Glasgow, but from a viewer at home, this was a brilliant bit of booking. And that's how I saw WWE 2024 Clash at the Castle from Glasgow, Scotland. There was one hell of a surprise, some pretty solid matches, a relief for me in the Intercontinental title match, also some great story development, and one hell of a bit of nice booking at the end that definitely angered the crowd, but really sets things up nicely. Did you agree with my Clash at the Castle review or parts of it? Maybe none of it. Who knows? Let me know in the comments. Follow at Silo Wrestling on X, at SVS Reviews on Instagram and Facebook, and me at Jason C. McLean on X and Instagram. Also, make sure you like, share, subscribe, and ring that bell for notifications. My next video should be assorted thoughts on Raw, which I'm going to go watch right now. For Silo Voice Studios in Montreal, I'm Jason C. McLean.